Hey everybody, you're watching another episode of the Jon and Jon Sports Podcast. My name's Jonathan Conte. Sitting next to me is my co-host and roommate, Jonathan Vincent. John, how you doing?
I'm doing great today, John, and very excited as we have a special guest coming onto the show. A little bit of professional baseball in the room. And John, why don't you introduce him on over?
Absolutely, John. That is Frank Mozzicato from East Catholic High School by way of Ellington, Connecticut. He is a number 7 overall draft pick this previous year.
With the 7th pick of the 2021 MLB Draft, the Kansas City Royals select Frank Mozzicato, a left-handed pitcher from East Catholic High School in Manchester, Connecticut.
And, Frank, thanks again for joining us. We're really excited to be able to talk to you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Now, Frank, how early on did you realize that baseball was something you could excel at?
Kind of just growing up, and I played 3 sports, and I didn't really think anything of it. I played soccer, basketball, and baseball growing up. So, it depends, whatever season it was in, that was my favorite sport. That's what I wanted to do when I grew up. I would say probably going into my freshman year of high school, I was like, okay, I like baseball more than these 3. And, I didn't really want to think that too far ahead because I just wasn't really who I was. So I just played to love the game. And when I committed sophomore year to UConn, I was like, okay, maybe I could do something with this. And then everything went on from there. So
As a sophomore in high school, you're getting more looks from major college baseball programs, and you end up signing with UConn. What is that like as someone who still has 2 years left of high school to walk through the halls with all the success that you've already achieved? You don't have to go to class. I mean, you do have to go to class, but you got baseball in the back of your mind at all times. So, how do you work around that?
I would say it's definitely pretty cool, but like I said, I was just like a normal kid. I just happened to be committed at that point, but I didn't really think anything of it. Like, I know people thought it was cool, but I was just kind of like, I guess but I'd much rather just be like a normal kid and really not have all that around me. So I just try to keep it as normal as possible, not like always bring it up or stuff like that. So
Frank, when did the coaches start to reach out? I understand that your sophomore year you signed with UConn. Freshman year you had to be in talks with somebody. When did these coaches start reaching out to you, potentially playing baseball for them?
So freshman year I didn't play varsity. Freshman year I played JV. Sophomore year was the first year I played varsity, and it was at the end of our season, and I went to a couple showcases, and BC reached out, Northeastern reached out, Bryant reached out, and UConn reached out. Those were the first 4 schools that reached out. And growing up, UConn was always my dream school. Always wanted to go there, watching George Springer, Anthony Kay, Tim Cate, and all those guys play, and that was just always my dream school I wanted to go to. And I remember after a showcase, I talked to BC, Northeastern, and Bryant that night. And then the next day, I talked to UConn, and they offered me that day, and I committed on the spot because that's where I knew I wanted to go. Coach Penders, Coach McDonald, Coach Horgan, those guys are the best. So great coaching staff over there, and I knew it was the right place for me, so I just committed on the spot.
And Frank, I would have rather have liked to see you in an Ellington Knights uniform. But going to East Catholic is where you want to go to better yourself and better your chances post-high school as an athlete. So did you ever, at any point, consider giving Ellington Public Schools a thought? And, what was that decision like between East Catholic and, potential public school?
No. And it didn't have anything really to do with, Ellington itself. It's my mom went to East Catholic. My brother went to East Catholic, so it's just kind of like, all right, I'm going to East Catholic. Okay. But no, it was definitely hard leaving. Ryan Shaw, his freshman year, he went there, then he transferred to East Catholic. But it was definitely hard leaving my friends, Ellington and me going to a different school and making new friends. But the one I knew a couple kids, and Will Wendry was one of them, because we played basketball in 4th grade together on an AAU team growing up, and I knew him going into it, but that was really it. So it was definitely a hard but fun transition for sure.
Did it have anything to do with East Catholic's exposure, the opportunities that East Catholic as a private school could give you rather than maybe what Ellington could offer?
A little bit, but my parents really wanted me to go there because the curriculum is harder. My mom went there, so it's just kind of like, we're just gonna go there. But I would definitely say going there, because when my brother was a freshman, we didn't even know if he was gonna make the team or not, and he ended up being a varsity pitcher his freshman year. So, and then we started to realize the head coach, Coach Fiore, has connections, and we didn't know that going in. So when he started saying, "Oh, like, do you want to go to this school or this school, or I can talk to this coach for you or this coach for you," I was like, "Okay, we definitely picked the right spot for sure." Because he's gonna help me get to where I want to go for sure.
Attending East Catholic High School gave you the opportunity to play with your older brother, Anthony. How special was that for you playing alongside him, and how did that help you develop as a pitcher yourself?
It was definitely super cool. We played one time before that together, and that was Little League back in the day. But playing with him my sophomore year and his senior year was awesome. Definitely just that competitive nature came out again. Me always trying to want to beat him and everything, no matter what it was. And I always say this because it's the truth, but I've learned, I would say, the majority of my stuff from my brother, just growing up watching him pitch and him just teaching me stuff in the backyard, just little things like that. I would definitely say I've learned a lot from him. So
That's awesome. Now let's talk about your senior year a little bit. You pitched 46 and 2/3 innings, over 100 strikeouts, 113 to be exact. You had 4 straight no-hitters, a span that lasted over 30 and 2/3 innings. Why don't you talk about how remarkable your senior year was?
um, that season was amazing. I remember freshman year, all the freshmen, were just a bunch of little scrawny kids, and we were super talented. We had a bunch of raw talent. We're gonna win a state championship one of these 4 years. Like, it's gonna happen. We just gotta be patient and do all the right things. And junior year, when the pandemic hit, we had a really good squad. Like, we could have easily made a really strong run that year too. And that just kind of hurt us even more. We're just like, okay, so now senior year, we have to go 1-1 for those 2020s that didn't get that chance. And it was just awesome to see as the guys getting better throughout the year, and just how kind of easy it was for us to go out and play. There was no pressure at all. So it was really awesome. And it was, since freshman year, that was our goal, to win a state championship. And the best part was we were getting better every game. And we weren't even at our peak yet at state championship. We were getting better and better. So it was definitely awesome to come out with the win for sure.
Do you feel that team, that culture, that camaraderie on the team of, hey, this is, we're all going to be bought in, we're all going to be invested? Do you ever feel like, anybody would stray from that, and then you just be able to pull them back in, like, hey, this is the goal, we know where we're going?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's mindset was the same. As it was kind of know your role. So whether that was you were playing one day, not playing the next day, you were being a good teammate on the bench. If you were playing the game, you made an error, you got to think, I got to get the next one. So nobody really thought about themselves first. So our motto is I am second. So it's putting, the team before yourself, no matter what. And I would definitely say, like, our bond, and, like you said, it was really strong, and it was really hard to break. We played as one every game. Nobody played for themselves. So I definitely think that was one of the big reasons why, we just kept on winning and kind of with ease. We just played like ourselves and had fun with it.
Well, not only just an amazing senior year for you, Frank, but the team, East Catholic, finished undefeated, 25-0 to be exact. Your first state championship as a program since 1997, first appearance since 2011. Reading up on some of the interviews that you had done throughout your senior year, you just kept mentioning how winning a state championship was your main goal. How important was it for you, not only for yourself, but for your teammates, to stay focused on that goal and not look past what everything else was going on off the field?
It was super important, and I always say this, like when the scouts came and stuff, I didn't pitch for them, because whatever happens. Like, some things are going to be out of my control. And my goal is to go out and win that game for my team and make sure that, we're going to get better and better every day. I see the scouts as fans. So they're just going to be on the backstop. So it was definitely, every game is definitely so much fun with those guys, and just, playing. We goofed off. Like, that was our thing, was like, we were goofing off, on the bus ride there. We'd always just get hype. The pitchers would have their earbuds in, but the pitchers do whatever they want. But we just had a bunch of fun. Like, we always were joking around, and it was definitely one of the best seasons I've had. So.
Frank, you mentioned that the pitchers wear earbuds on the bus ride in. Was that your game day routine on the ride over as well, or did you do something different?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say some pitchers are different. We had a couple kids that didn't even have earbuds in, and they would just jam out with us. But I know me personally, I had my earbuds in and I was locking in and making sure I was focusing. And once those earbuds, I'd take the earbuds off before getting off the bus. Then I would just kind of get goofy with the guys and be relaxed and just have fun. So I would definitely say different for every pitcher.
Now, on your run to the state championship, you guys were blowing out teams. You beat Wyndham Tech 23-1, Weston 19-1. So clearly, it wasn't just the pitching staff that was getting it done. You guys had amazing bats as well. Yeah, you want to shout out any of your teammates who were just getting it done on the offensive side of the ball?
I mean, I could shout out the whole team. Trevor Wan, Alex Irizarry, Hank Penders, Ryan Shaw, Chris Conley, TJ Wynn. I could keep going and going and going, but I mean, I think 8 of our 9 players hit 400 this year, or 7 of our 9 players hit over 400 this year. So, and people like to say like, oh, you guys are in Class M, but if you look at our CIC schedule, we do not play a team that's not Class L or not Class L. So we're trying to play the best competition to prepare us for the state tournament. And, we just went up there and had fun, to be honest. We didn't really think too much of it. And I think that's what made us succeed so much is, it's kind of like playing football in the backyard almost. So
obviously there's no great pitcher without a great catcher. So who was that for you and how did he help you, with your game?
So Hank Penders, his dad is the head coach for UConn baseball. So me and Hank have been best friends since freshman year, and he's been catching me since freshman year. So we just always had a super great connection, and he was so good behind the dish. I think he threw out like 9 of like the 10 guys that tried to steal on him. I don't think maybe 1 pass ball the whole year, maybe, but he just did a great job knowing the pitchers, knowing what's working for us that day, knowing what spots we're hitting. And he did it with the bat too. He was our 6-hole hitter all year, but he could have easily been our 3-hitter. I think he hit like 416. He had a bomb, bunch of doubles, couple triples, but he did it all. So I definitely think he was a big key factor to our state championship.
Having so much confidence in your catcher and friend Hank behind the plate, how does that help you as a pitcher, knowing that there is virtually a brick wall sitting back there? And does that allow you to be a little more creative with your pitch selection and how you want to try and manipulate the strike zone?
Definitely. I mean, we'd always talk before the game, like, let's try and stretch the zone. Let's make it as big as possible. And, he always gives the pitchers the most confidence. And, it's always an easy going when you're on the mound with him. It's super easy to pitch to him. He's such a great receiver. He makes every pitch look good. So it definitely boosts your confidence when, you get a ball that's just outside the black and ump calls a strike because Hank's doing his thing back there. And it's just like, all right, we're cruising now. So.
Now, Frank, all the hype that was surrounding you throughout your senior year, did that start prior to the season starting, all the coaches and, scouts coming to the games? Or was it once the season got underway, you realized that there was more scouts coming to the game and, the hype and all the glory that was happening, it started to become more prevalent?
So before the season, there was a little talk about it, but it was nothing much. And like I said earlier, like I wasn't really focusing on it. My goal was to win a state championship. But as the first game, I think there was like 12 scouts there. And then the second was like 20 and 30. And then it ended up being, I think one game was like 50 or 60 scouts. So it kind of grew every game. And to us, we got used to it after the second or third game with the scouts behind home plate. So we kind of used them to our advantage against other teams. Like, I don't think other teams were, getting that many scouts behind home plate or during that game, during any of their games throughout the year. So we used that to our advantage with kind of like the pressure. And we just went out there and did our thing. Didn't really think anything of it. Just had fun with it. So.
The last question I'm going to ask you about your senior year, it kind of pertains to that little bit of a family competition. Now, your brother Anthony, who currently pitches at Central Connecticut State University, his senior year at East Catholic, he didn't allow a run on the entire season. Now, even though you had all the hype, drafted 7th overall by the Kansas City Royals, an undefeated state championship team, he still gave up a run on the season. And I hate to point it out, but does that add to the family competition? That's one thing that Anthony was able to do and you weren't.
He's got to have something.
Yeah. What's that
Yeah,
like?
definitely. I remember that was kind of one of my like personal selfish goals was, to tie my brother with the 0 ERA. And I remember the first game I lit up and run, and my brother was there. And I remember he was like laughing at me and stuff, so it was funny. But after that,
Well, let me add, Frank, it wasn't just a game where you pitched bad. Up to that point, you had 17 strikeouts. There were 17 outs total up to that point, and all were through strikeouts, all Ks. What's going through your mind? You're pitching a great game. You just happen to give up a run in the first game of the season. That's the only one you give up all year.
no, I mean it was since it was my first outing, I was like, all right, who cares now? Like, let's go out and win games. Let's do it. Like, let's see how many games we can win and let's have fun with it. So I didn't really, think too much of it, but definitely in the house, it was definitely a big competitive thing.
Let's move on to the MLB draft. Obviously leading up to that point, you're in talks with a couple of teams, but you ultimately decided to stay in Ellington with a couple close friends and family rather than go to Denver and be a part of the MLB draft. What was your decision and why did you choose that?
It was definitely an easy choice. I mean, going out to Denver, that would have been super cool and all, but I'd rather, share that time and with the family and the friends that, helped me get to where I was, and everybody that supported me. I think that's way better. And, it definitely was with all my friends around and, all my friends' parents and all that cool stuff, all my coaches. So it was definitely awesome to see, everybody there and, share that time with them.
So, Frank, prior to the draft, you met with the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Did you feel like they were the teams that were probably going to pick you or had the best chance at picking you instead of the Royals?
Yeah, definitely. AJ Preller, who's the GM of the Padres, was super high, and he was the best. I mean, he was super nice, and I remember we were in California visiting those teams, and I had a Zoom call with the Royals, and met Lonnie and all those guys, and their organization is it's outstanding. It's really incredible. What their goals are, what they honor as a program and an organization. So I knew they were always, in contention, but things had to play out, and they ended up playing out, and I couldn't be happier for getting drafted by the Royals.
Did they give you a box with like 100 of those shirts so you just get to wear them around? You sell them out of your trunk? I mean, what do you do with those? Do you give it some kind of merchandise?
Yeah, so when I flew out to Kansas City, they gave me a huge bag full of just gear, and I think the majority of it was women's stuff. So I had to give that out to my mom and all my friends and stuff. But it was definitely cool. I mean, once I got down to Arizona for to start up my career, I got a bunch of gear and stuff. So the apparel is really cool.
Frank, on the day of the MLB draft, while you're surrounded at home with friends and close family members, you take the call from the Kansas City Royals and you step out of the room. Was it too loud with the family? What was the decision in you stepping out of the room to take the call by yourself?
So we found out that if certain player got picked, that I was going to go to the Royals, and I remember that kid got picked. So my phone starts ringing, and it's the area scout, Casey Fahey, for the Royals. And he's like, congratulations, man. You're going to be a Royal. And I was like, thank you so much. And I walked back in and I told, everybody that was here, and everybody was going crazy. So it was definitely an awesome, awesome moment.
And that's awesome, Frank. Something that John and I were talking about. What's that initial feeling like when you realize that all your hard work, everything you put in, it's been recognized? You're now drafted to an MLB organization. What was that first realization for you like?
It was, pure joy, and, it didn't really set in for a while. So, it was definitely pure joy and just excitement and, ready to get my career rolling. So, I was definitely, beyond ecstatic.
What's in store next for Frank Mozzicato? Going forward, are you going to be a part of some kind of affiliate team? What do the Royals have in store for you with the months to come?
Right now it's just, working out, getting bigger and stronger, and then we'll be throwing within the next week. So getting back rolling with that, but just one day at a time, one step at a time, just getting better. And since there's three high school arms, me, Ben Kuderna, and Shane Panzini, and they're going to take us slow and make sure we're safe and really developing the right way. So just one day at a time and just ready to get after it.
Frank, I do want to ask you, have you met any of the players in the Kansas City Royals organization up to this point?
I have not. I have not met any of them yet, so I'm definitely excited to though.
Frank, I know I asked the question prior, but are there any other shout-outs you want to give to anybody, any family members, friends, teammates, coaches, anybody out there?
Definitely want to, say thank you to my parents for always keeping my head on straight and, making sure I'm on track and doing all the right things and, not getting in trouble. So I definitely want to say thank you to my brother, kind of just letting me, ghost him around and throughout the years and kind of learn from him. And, shout out to all my teammates, East Catholic, the Canes, all those guys made me better, the rivals of the world. I'd like to shout out my high school coach, Coach Fiore, who helped me with this process, along with Coach Rival, who's my pitching coach. Those two have been really nothing but the best. And so those are the people I'd probably definitely say are the most, probably closest to, helping me, especially in the baseball world.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show again, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Jon and Jon Sports Talk Show. My name is Jonathan Conte. Sitting next to me is Jonathan Vincent. And thank you again to Frank Mozzicato for joining us today and putting together a great show.
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you again, Frank, and thank you, John. Another great episode.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Shout out to the family.
Yep. Cool. Okay.
Oh my God. What? You want to just clap all night? That's all.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. Whew.
Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Jon and Jon Sports Podcast.
I was just going to look at you. Go.
Throw me
It's
off.
not podcast, it's talk show.
I know. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Jon and Jon Sports Talk Show. My name's Jonathan Conte.
Yo. I love the slow
Did
answer.
anybody see that?